So welcome to Product and Process Design. In the next several modules, we are going to be talking, and actually I want you to be doing Sketch for Design. And for these modules, you will need some equipment. Basically, you'll need a blue pencil and a marker pen, and we have specified that in your things to get. So Sketch for Design. So we're going to break it into three chunks. First is the nature of sketching. We'll then talk about sketching basics and tools and sketching skills for getting better refined sketches. So let's talk about nature of sketching. What is it not, and when to use it. If you think a little bit more about sketching and the differences between sketching and drawing, things become more obvious in terms of the basic differences. Well, sketches are sketchy to start with, but also sketches can be rough. They often are disposable and they lack some sense of professionalism. They could be professional sketches too, but the way we will approach sketching is that sketching is a way of communication, to getting the idea across, to be quick, to be fast, to be communicative. Of course, you could be communicative as well as nice, but oftentimes if the sketches are nice and extremely well done, you often don't elicit opinions from others on the particular idea. Drawings, on the other hand, are more professional, and you can see engineering CAD drawings. Diagrams are types of drawings, and they also oftentimes have dimensions and other content that go on top of it. Sketches, as we will talk, for communication. Here in the front, you see some storyboard on the left side, and there's some annotations in the middle one. And further, somebody is thinking about, they are bored or something like that. Sketches can communicate a lot of things if they are done well. They can also put together things like a storyboard. Sketches can also be for thinking. Like in the left, there is ideation for some kind of a rice cooker. Perhaps it's more environmentally friendly rice cooker. And on the right side, you kind of see the sketch being used for ideation purposes. For instance, there's a sketch of an aircraft or a tilt rotor aircraft, but it doesn't have to look like one exactly. It's just that circle up here that kind of conveys what it is. And then there's the rotor, different configurations of the rotor, and some annotations here, some different modalities of the rotor. And you can kind of see that just by taking concepts from one and putting it on top of the other, you can come up with various combinations of what is possible. Sketching in design takes on different shapes and forms. If you're sketching roughly, like typically the early stage sketches for concept generation typically tend to be rough. Large number of concepts are created, and at some point you have a situation where you want to reduce the number of ideas, so you down select, maybe choose the better ones, combine good concepts from different ideas, and then you have typically moving into the stage where they become a little bit more detailed and they transform into drawings or simple sketches, and oftentimes those are used in more detailed concept generation or embodied design. And then you have again a reduction of choice, and you build and you reduce, and this divergent and convergent phases, in the end you will have to refine it, and you have CAD kind of tools being used in the end. CAD is also not very useful for early stage design, and one of the reasons is what I alluded to, that CAD is very finalized and people don't want to change it, whereas in a sketch you can just tear it and throw it out. So CAD is more for detailed representation and not typically used for early stage. So after ideation, it's often necessary to keep things simple and clear, and you explain ideas out, and if people don't get it, well, of course, that's where you need drawings or sketches, right? So keeping things simple and clear and communicative, so it's a channel for communication. We communicate by seeing, by doing. And in this case, sketches communicate by making your ideas in the head come out in the paper. It acts as your external memory, and it's your storage device, and you can explain it out. There are different types of sketches: fast, cheap, ambiguous, incomplete. And being ambiguous can be intentional. And by being ambiguous, you can elicit a lot of ideas from different people because they know it's not finalized. The simple sketches typically evolve from rough sketches, and the idea is simple, is still to keep the conversation also clear. And detailed drawings, examples of that, and some examples of finalized CAD kind of models. But also you can see that sketches can be quite nice and illustrative and almost as good as anything else. The uses of sketches again changes. Early stage, disposable, quick communication with teammates. Often they lack meaning without context. In between stage, thinking through details, process, context such as storyboarding, communicating with stakeholders. And then the final stage is more for documentation, but also for design and manufacturing and prototyping. And of course, when the models become computer aided, you can do so many things with it these days, including simulation and analysis and so on and so forth. So with that, we are done with the first module. Thank you.